All in one video today, guys. I'm going to show you step by step how to rebuild a deck. I'm going to show you how to do it all on your own so you'll never have to hire anybody at all. As always, step 1 is the demolition and step 2 is the rebuild process. You got to make sure you have your piers. Your piers must be at least 3 foot deep and they must be 16 inches in circumference. Then you must put on your ledger board. Your ledger board must be pressure treated. In this instance, I'm going to go with a 2x10 pressure treated ledger board. I'm going to be fastening it in just temporarily. Then I'm going to be marking my X's. I want to come in 2 inches from the end of the board, 2 inches down from the top of the board, and put my first one. Then my next one's going to be 12 inches over from there and 2 inches up from the bottom. It's going to be a W pattern. I'm going to go 2 inches down, 2 inches up, every single 12 inches in a W pattern. Then I'm going to take my 6x6 post brackets that are Simpson strong tie post brackets. I'm going to fasten those to those concrete footings that I poured. I'm going to check plumb level and square. I'm going to start eyeing up all of my 2x10 joists. I'm going to mark my crown going upwards because I don't want to put it down because then there would be a sag and the decking would take to that sag. If I put it up all the way to the deck, we'll pull that crown down. Now I'm taking my 6x6 posts, I'm cutting all the way around, and I'm going to be setting them in the 6x6 post brackets. These 6x6 posts are going to eventually hold my girders. I'm doing 2 triple girders. What do I mean triple? I'm taking 3 2x10 pressure treated boards and I'm laminating them together. What do I mean by laminating together? I'm screwing them together. First, I'm putting the deck screws in every so often. Then I'm laminating them. I'm using a red laminating ledger lock screw that is 6 inches and it's going through, and I'm doing that in a W pattern on both sides of the board. Then I'm getting my girder to post brackets and I'm mounting them on. I'm having 2 separate girders on 2 separate post beams. Why? Because this deck is 22 foot long and I got to support it somehow. So I'm supporting it with girder system. I'm going to be fastening my joist to the ledger board and it's going to sit on girder number 1. Then it's going to sit from girder 1 and it's going to go on girder number 2 and it's going to cantilever over. What do I mean by cantilever? It's going to overhang past that girder. You can cantilever up to 2 foot. We're going to go just about 2 foot. So how do I fasten these to each other? First things first, I'm going to be nailing it into the ledger board. Then I'm going to take joist hangers and I'm going to be using joist hangers to hang it from the ledger board to the joist. Then I'm going to take hurricane ties and I'm going to tie the joist to the girder. Then on the second girder, I'm once again going to be using hurricane ties to tie it to the girder. I'm also going to be sistering the boards. I'm going to be screwing them to each other where they overlap. I want to overlap by at least 1 foot. Then I'm going to put my rim board on going entirely around the outside, and that's going to fasten into each, and there's going to be a joist hanger on that. This is an example of a hurricane tie to a girder. This is an example of a joist hanger fastened to a house. You must use the Simpson strong tie nails. I like to use the 3-inch nails going into the home, and I'll use the 1.5-inch nails for the hurricane ties to the girder. When this is all said and done, you're looking at a 22 foot long by a 12 foot wide deck. Now I'm taking my joist protectant paint. There's also joist protectant tape. I prefer the paint because the tape can sometimes hold moisture. The paint does a multitude of things. Not only does it paint everything black, it makes it blend so you don't see it through the decking, but also it prevents moisture and it keeps it from weathering. I like to paint all cut ends, and all the tops of the joists, and I also like to paint my stringers. Now it's time to turn our attention to our steps. Our steps must sit on a concrete platform. That concrete platform must be at least 4 inches thick. I'm throwing a little stone underneath. I excavate down. I'm pouring 4 inches of high strength concrete mist. I must pour this completely level side to side, and front to back. It can be a little bit of pitch because you want the water to run away, but I don't want it to be drastic because I want to maintain my step heights of 6 3/4 inch rise on each one. Now I'm using AZAC rim board. I'm going all the way around, so it's going to be composite decking. That's why I framed it 12 inches on center, and it's going to be composite rim board that I choose to be AZAC, and I'm gluing that all the way around. I'm using PL Extreme to glue it, and then I'm finished nailing it on. Now I'm marking out for my stringers so that I can put my AZAC trim on that. I cut it the same way I cut each of my stringers. Then I put my stringers on that concrete that I just poured. Once it gets hard, I fasten it into place. I'm using ledger lock screws to bolt it into the existing rim that I held down to support it. I paint all of that with my joist protectant paint. I take my PL, I put my risers on. Again, I'm using my AZAC, 3/4 inch AZAC to wrap the entirety of this step. I have my 4x4 post coming up. Each step is a 6 3/4 rise and 11 1/4 inches so I can have an overhang and use 2 full boards when making my steps. And we have two separate entrances for this deck. We have a side entrance and we have a front entrance. And I have my 4x4 posts on absolutely everywhere to catch all of my railings. You don't want anything spanned more than 8 foot because you're going to be about 92 inches with your rails. I'm using Trex Transcend Groove decking. Is tiki torch in color to match as closely to the brand new fence that they had done as it can be. Now it's time to notch out for all of our 4x4 posts. This can be a bit tedious. We used a power saw. We cut it first. We get our jigsaw and we entirely notch it out. This is time consuming, but we're doing our picture frame border that's going to go around the entirety of this deck, and it's really going to make it pop. We're having a picture frame on the upper rim all the way around, and we're also going to be picture framing each individual step. For this, we're going to be using hidden screws and fasteners. Screws and plugs, excuse me. There's going to be tiki torch plugs going in the screws, so they match the decking exactly and you can't really see where they are. This must go on the rim board and the outside of all the steps. I'm going to have a 3/4 inch overhang on the steps on both sides, and then one piece is going to fit with the same gap, that 1/4 inch gap that each piece of decking is going to have as well. Now, the decking itself is going to be tiki torch Trex Transcend grooved. And why is it grooved? Because I'm using the hidden fastener system to lock it into place so there's no screws that have to go through the individual deck boards. You don't see anything. It just flows. When you're doing it, well, here's how you plug. I'm plugging the rim real quick to show you guys how to do it. You tap it down. Can't even tell it's there. When you're running your decking, what you want to do is you want to put your hidden fastener on one side and then immediately pull the back side in towards you and put your hidden fastener on there as well to keep it locked into place. You always want pressure so it doesn't move. These are the hidden fasteners that I'm showing you. They keep them locked into place. As you see, he's screwing in. He has his hand pushing that piece of decking back. You always want to maintain pressure so it doesn't move. You want that same gap, that same reveal in between every single deck board. You got to put it down. You pull it, you tap it back into place, and you hold it as you fasten it down so it doesn't move. It doesn't slide out. You don't want it to look it's all in place. You want straight, clean, pristine lines that are exactly the same every time. Another major key when you're tutting your decking, make sure you cut off of both sides. Cut a square end, then pull your measurement off that square end so that when you're setting it up on the deck, you have the same reveal all the way around and it's 100% square. Do not assume the decking will be square, guys, because in often instances, it is not square. Be sure and make it square on your own. Always start from the back of the deck, run in towards the house. So if you do happen to have a cut, it'll be hidden up to the house. That's exactly what we're doing here, keeping an eye on what the eventual cut will be. We're hoping it will tuck under the siding so you really won't even see it once the cut is in and once our AZAC faceplate is on underneath the door. So you must put that cut piece in first and then you put your last full board in after so that you can make sure you maintain the exact spacing you need. You're going to notch where you need to. You're going to put it in. You're going to slide your hidden fasteners in there in place, but not fasten anything home so that you're just sliding them in until you get to each 12-inch on center so you can screw it in. You're going to take a pry bar. You're going to pry the piece against the house so make sure you have it exactly where you need to, and then you're going to fasten these, and then you're going to use your screws and your plugs for the last little piece that's going to be covered by the AZAC rim board, AZAC kick plate, excuse me. Behind that kick plate, behind the ledger board is ice and water shield, and then there is drip cap that is over top of your ledger board underneath these joists so your water's going to run away from the home. I forgot to mention that. We're going to be using the Regency rail kit because it has a flat rail on the top. We're going to be sliding all of our post covers over, then our base cap, and then our base post cap and post base. A power saw or a sawzall and cut anything that's going to be above 40 inches as these are all 40 inches in height. Our rail system is going to be 36 inches in height, but it's going to start 3 inches off the deck, so it's going to be a 39-inch rail. Cut off both sides when you're cutting your rail so you have the same reveal from post to post and in between, and everything is 100% square and looking clean and pristine. Here's what it looks like when the rails are installed. Go back and glue all the caps on. Now it's time to turn our attention to the lattice. You could either do a color-matched lattice, you could either do decking underneath, a nice deck skirt. These people have chosen to do a white privacy lattice, so we're going to do that. We're going with a veranda rail system that comes with dividing section as well as a top and bottom column to completely lock it in and fasten it into. This keeps everything locked into place and looking clean. We're going to leave the back piece unscrewed. We're going to screw all this to each other, but the back of the deck is going to be unscrewed so that we can pop it out whenever we have to and use it for storage at the homeowner's request. Stuff's super easy to cut. It is best cut with nips as opposed to a saw, and then you pop it into place. Once it gets in the channel, you'll hear it click into place, and you can screw it from the channel into the lattice. Now that this is completely done, completely decoded, and completely inspected, here is your completed look. Thank you to anyone who's watched. Any questions, comments, or concerns, do not hesitate to ask. This is what we're here for. We hope that after watching this, you're able to go tackle this project. If you do choose to do so and you have any questions at all, you can always reach out. We always answer our messages and all of our comments as we get them. Have a great day, everyone. Thanks for watching.